Hey Facebook peeps. So I'm just doing a quick video tonight on something that came up for me earlier. It's gonna be kind of a weird video. I'm just warning you now. So yeah, as a massage therapist, I get some weird questions from my clients. And some of the main ones are like, so you must get a lot of marriage proposals, right? And I'm like, well, I get a lot of people asking me that question. Or, so you must get a lot of creepy guys, right? Yeah, kind of goes with the job. But the main one, the one that I think is just on everybody's mind that so many people stress out about. Because clients in general, especially if they've never had a massage before, there's some things that they stress about before getting one. And I think for men, a lot of men, it's that fear of getting an erection, But for men and women, it's passing gas in the session. And I'll get these clients that are like, so do you ever have clients that, pass gas during a massage? And I'm like, yeah, all the time. It's pretty common. And they're like, oh God, I would be so mortified, It's so funny because it's something that they really stress about. And I've noticed this correlation with the differences in my spa clients versus my private clients. So the spa clients, I might have somebody that's come to me a few times and maybe the third or fourth time they pass gas in the session and then they never come back. They'll end up on somebody else's schedule because they're just too embarrassed. So I'll never see them again. Whereas my private clients, I have private clients that have been coming to me for years and they pass gas all the time. They don't care. It's not going to stop them from coming back and getting a good massage. They just don't care. Because they're comfortable with me and, they know I don't care. It's, it's part of the job. So, it's just funny because you see this difference in, the level of intimacy and connection with the client and their comfort level. And I started thinking about how that correlates to, relationships and friendships in general. I wrote a blog a few months ago called Cultivating the Friend Zone and the importance of really establishing a good friendship with someone before you ever have sex with them, just so that you have that comfort level with them. And we tend to be more intimate with our friends in a way that we're not with our lovers. I have a friend years and years ago, I had a car that had cloth seats and I traded it in. I got another one that had leather seats. And the first time my friend's riding in my car, she farts and it's loud and obnoxious. And she's like, oh Lord, these seats don't absorb. It reverberated. And it was hysterical. We're laughing our asses off over this, right? And it wasn't because she farted, because she farted all the time in my car. If the window went down and she was like, I'm sorry, I knew what transpired. But this was just the first time I had heard her. And it was just funny because of the seats, But, it takes us a while to get that comfortable with a lover, at least for women. Women, we're like dudes with our girlfriends. But then when we get around guys, we're like, we're such a lady, two different people. But men don't care. Men are, it doesn't take them as long to get as comfortable with bodily functions and that kind of thing, right? I mean, you just think of a first or second date with a guy. Guys eat whatever they want. They'll just gorge themselves on a steak or burger or whatever. They'll eat whatever they want on that first date because when they gotta shit, they're gonna go shit. They don't care. Ain't nothing stopping them. Women, we're like, I'll just have the potato with some butter. That's it. Because if we don't want to have to shit at your house later. So, ladies, come on, we've all been there, right? You just don't, it takes a while for you to get comfortable. I have friends that waited 2-3 months before they ever took a shit at their boyfriend's house. So guys, if you got a girlfriend or a girl that you've invited to spend the night and she leaves in the middle of the night and you're like, what the fuck? Because women love that. Right, we love to spend the night. We love to get that invite because nobody wants to leave and do the walk of shame. You know, we want to stay the night and cuddle and do all of that stuff. So if you ask a woman to stay and she leaves in the middle of the night, it's probably because she had to go home and shit. No, I'm just being real. But, yeah, so it's different. Like, guys will just go. They don't care. Like, women are like, oh no, what if the toilet doesn't flush? And, what if, what if it overflows? Like, we're coming up with all these scenarios of what could happen. You know, we're stressing ourselves out about it. And, like, you have that scene in, Dumb and Dumber with Jeff Daniels when he's by the woman's house, like, for a date, I think, and he just destroys the bathroom and he doesn't know what to do, so he just jumps out the window and he leaves. Like, and we've all had that stress, like, you know, in a new relationship about bathroom stuff. You know, like, men just don't seem to care so much about bodily functions as the way women do. I guess because they're so used to stuff coming out of their body all the time, you know, and, you know, in a way that we don't have to worry about. Anyway, I'm not going to go there. But I will say this. Snot rockets. Y'all need to stop that shit. It's disgusting. Why? Like, why do y'all do it? Why can't you use a tissue? Like, that's something that I've never, ever in my life, and then, you know, there may be women out there to do it, but I have never in my life seen a woman do that. So men, I could do like a whole Facebook Live on men and snot rockets. It's disgusting. I don't know why y'all do it. Can anybody explain that? Like, why is it so hard to use a tissue? Anyway, so yeah, I do have a point here. I know this video is weird, but I do have a point. About intimacy and getting comfortable with someone, and cultivating that friendship first. So, like, for ladies, you know, you have a hard time orgasming, you know, when you're with somebody that you don't really know that well, that you've only been on a few dates with, and you haven't really gotten really comfortable with them and rooted in that relationship. So just imagine if, you know, two people take their time and they really go into a sexual union as friends first. Like, they've developed this friendship, this mutual love and respect and adoration and comfort level and trust. More than anything, trust is the biggest thing. And so you go into this and you have a more higher probability of having an orgasm than you would with somebody that you just kind of, you know, hooked up with first or second date. You know, and for guys tend to deal with performance anxiety issues a lot. You know, they stress themselves out about, like, you know, how long they're going to last, and, you know, what's she going to think, and, you know, is there going to be a second date if I suck? You know, you don't have to worry about all of that when you've really developed this bond with somebody. They're not going to, like, just be like, oh, the sex sucked, bye. You know, like, they're going to work with you. You know, they're going to be more patient with you, and you know, it's a whole new ball game. Like, I have to say, like, the most intimate relationship that I've ever had was with my first lover, and that's because we were friends for so many months before we ever slept together. So we were, you know, we had that mutual love and respect and trust, and adoration for each other before we ever got naked together. You know, so it made it so much more intimate and comfortable. And, you know, the downside is that I went into every relationship afterwards expecting that, looking for that, wanting that. And it was never there, because what happens after your first love, your first heartache, you stop trusting, or it just becomes harder to trust people, and you get conditioned and you start to think, well, like, you know, well, if I want this guy to stick around, I gotta, like, put out, right? So women tend to jump in too soon sexually because they're afraid that he's gonna get bored and move on. And I think as women, like, we really need to start, being okay with losing a guy. So just get comfortable with that idea, you know, just be able to, if your standard is, hey, I really want to cultivate a friendship with this guy and get to know him before I have sex with him so that it's more comfortable for us, then hold that standard and don't waver with it. Like, don't give in. Don't be afraid to lose him. If he's going to walk away, he's going to walk away. Probably, chances are he'd probably walk away anyway once you give it to him. Because, in fact, most guys, they value more what they have to work for and put some effort into. And for you guys that are always like, I can't even tell you how many men I'm like, oh man, all I meet is these like trashy women. And I'm like, yeah, but did you sleep with her on the first date? Well, yeah. Well, you're contributing to the trashy women situation. Like, you're creating more of them. And it's really not even that they're trashy women. It's just that they've been conditioned to think that if they want to keep a man, they gotta put out, And so women, we need to, change the game and have higher standards and make guys adhere to that, or, be prepared to lose them. But guys, I mean, hold women to a higher standard. Hold yourself to a higher standard. Guys, if you really, really want to blow a woman's mind, and I'm telling you this right now, I've never, ever had this happen. Turn her down for sex. If she's coming on to you, like first, second date, she's already ready to go and she's looking to get you into bed, say, look, I'm really into you and I want this, but not right now. I want to take time to get to know you. You will blow her freaking mind, seriously, because it's almost never done. Like, I have never in my life, not once, had a guy turn down sex, a blowjob, a hand job, anything. They don't turn it down. So for a man to say that, to be able to tell a woman that, like, I really want you, but I'm gonna exercise some self-restraint here, and I really want to get to know you. You're gonna hook her. She's gonna be hooked. She's gonna be like, her mind is gonna be blown, because it's probably not something that she's ever experienced, because it's so rare. It's so rare that a guy turns down sex. So yeah, if you want to meet a quality woman, you have to be a quality man. So you can't say, well, all I'm meeting is these trashy women that, want to, have sex on the first date, but then you're having sex with them on the first date, or the second date, or too soon, like you're jumping in too soon, but then you're accusing them of being trashy because they're jumping in too soon. It's a double standard. And if you want to attract something better, you have to be something better. So hold them to a higher standard, because that's how they learn too. So, there's women, as women, we have to hold men to a higher standard that, maybe they don't know. They've only had this type of pattern of relationships their whole life. So we hold them to a higher standard, and then they have to come up to meet us where we're at. And then for the guys that are meeting these women that have really low standards, if you hold them to a higher standard, then they're going to have to come up and meet you. And you're going to allow them to see that there's something different. Like, not all men are, just looking to have sex on the first date. Although most of them are. I mean, like I said, it's really, really rare. So if you can be that one guy that says, you're so fucking hot and I want you, but I really want to know your mind first, and I really want to get to know you as a person, she's going to fall in love. I'm sorry. She's going to fall in love. I'm serious. Like, we don't get that. So if you want to be that, like, if you're a guy that's actually looking for a relationship, okay? So, like, if you're a guy that's just looking to get laid here and there, and that's all you want, have at it. Do what you're doing. But if you're a guy that really wants a real relationship with a woman, and you want a quality woman, then you have to be a quality man, and you have to hold her to the higher standards that she's going to hold you to, or she should be holding you to. It's a mutual thing. It's not like one of us is better than the other. It's like we both got our shit to work on, and we've both been conditioned, to think a certain way. Like, if you think back to that first love, like, so many of us had, like, that first love that was so pure and it was so great, it was so wonderful. And then, like, everyone after that sucked. because you've stopped trusting, and you've been conditioned to not take your time, you know, because you get that, like, that fear of scarcity. I think that, you know, like, well, if I don't, you know, hop on this guy while he's here, you know, he's gonna go away, he's gonna go be with some other woman, and, you know, and then I ain't gonna have anybody. There's so many men out there. Like, I'm gonna tell you, for a while I was like panicking because all I was seeing in those suggested the suggested friends list was women. It was all like, you know, high power business women. And I'm like, great, but where's all the men? Where's, you know, are we having a shortage of men, like attractive, successful men that have their shit together? Like, is there a shortage of them? Because that's what it seems like, because all I'm seeing is the women. And then, I don't know, I just added one guy, you know, one guy sent me a friend request, and I add him, and then suddenly all kinds of guys start popping up in the suggested friends list. It's so weird how that friends list thing works. Like, if you add somebody from Canada, next thing you know, you're going to have, like, you know, like, the whole suggested list is going to be people from Canada. It's so ridiculous. But apparently you add one guy, and there's suddenly, like, a gazillion guys in the suggested list. And I'm like, whoa. There really is a lot of guys out there, a lot of, like, attractive guys that have their shit together. And I'm like, so, you know, this whole scarcity thing, it's not real. There's a lot of men out there. There's a lot of good men out there. You just got to be open to it and stop lowering your standards, you know, for that scarcity mentality, and thinking there's just this one guy and I got to have him, and, you know, what am I going to do if he, you know, if I don't give it up and he walks away? There'll be another one. You know, and even if there isn't, at least you got your self-respect. I mean, you know, this is, you gotta decide what's more important, you know, having somebody, or, you know, having somebody of, you know, quality. You know, it's not about just having a person in your life. You know, like, if you want, I'm trying to think how to word this. If you want something better, you got to be something better. I mean, that's the only way I can really think to put it. You know? So, yeah, that's my spiel on intimacy and getting comfortable with people. I can't think. I've had a brain fart. Oh my god. So yeah, this is my delirious post for tonight. So yeah, just think about that. Just think about what that would feel like to be able to go into a sexual union with someone that you've already developed this deep friendship with, and trust, and intimacy and connection, and you're really, really comfortable with that person, you know? Because, like I said, there's things that we tell our partners that that we can't tell, that we tell our friends that we can't tell our partners. Like, let's say you're a guy and you got a mother-in-law you can't stand. Like, you freaking hate her. She's not, you know, she's not really doing you anything. She's just annoying. And you can't just keep harping on that to your wife, and you know, it's going to cause tension in your marriage, right? So what do? You go, you know, hang out with the guys, and you vent and you talk about it. Or if you're a woman and, like, your guy has this friend that you can't stand, he's like a real jerk, you know, and you can't keep, like, you know, telling your partner, you know, this guy's a jerk, you know, blah blah blah. You can't just keep harping on that. It's gonna cause tension in your relationship. So what do? You go sit in the bar at Chili's with your girlfriends, and you have, like, 2-for-1 margaritas, you know, like 6 of them. And you're like, girl, let me tell you what that motherfucker did now. Like, you just vent. You just let it all out, and you vent. And then when you go home to your man, you're like, I feel good. I'm good now. So you don't have to unleash on him, you know? Like, so that's what our friends are for. We unleash all of that shit that we don't really want to keep pestering our partner with, because it's just too much. It's too much for one person. And it's not that you should be able to talk to your partner about anything that's bothering you. You really should. But, you know, you can't just keep saying, I hate your mother. She's a bitch. I hate your mother. Like, you can't just keep doing that, because you're causing tension in the relationship because she can't get rid of her mother. You know? So, yeah, we all need that outlet, and our friends are that outlet. But, you know, yeah, if we can cultivate the same level of intimacy that we have with our friends and bring that into our relationship with our lovers, I mean, wow, imagine the kind of relationships that we could have. So, I don't even know how long I've been ranting. I'm like really delirious right now. I'm just super, super tired and delirious, and I'm being silly. So, that's my rant for tonight. Y'all have a good night. Bye.